Amelia Whaley. Most people call me Mimi. And this is the 4th year that I have participated in the Artist on Fire and Piccolo Spoleto special art exhibit. This year I want to talk about inspiration because I had a really hard time this year. In fact, I almost thought that perhaps I didn't need to be doing this year. It's normally lots of times inspiration comes relatively quickly. Once you get the main theme and you begin to, ponder what you're going to do and how your theme fits into the bigger theme. This year it didn't come quite as quickly. In fact, I would talk about digging, because that's actually what I had to do. And in fact, at one point I decided, even though the pomegranate had cropped up relatively soon, it was not clear to me how to integrate it into a show that was part of the bigger show. And so I put it aside, but I never got anything else that kind of connected with me in the theme of sweet. In fact, at one time I thought perhaps I'm supposed to do a series of fruit. But that didn't seem quite right either. So like buried treasure, sometimes you really have to dig deep. And I had almost decided, well, I'm just going to write Alex and Sarah and say that this year is not the right year for me. And then 2 things happened, and they both had to do with pomegranates. It was the same day, and it was a week before everything was due. And I said, okay, as I want to do, run away to Edisto, because walking on Front Beach sometimes clears the cobwebs out of my mind. And Edisto is where I grew up. It's where my family's originally from. It's always a place of great peace for me. So I took several days off and went down there and really worked on this. And I had this great memory from when I was 8 years old. I mean, who in the world would ever consider that a pomegranate tree would grow on Edisto Island? And that was kind of what propelled me forward. And I dried out some pomegranate seeds that I had gone and gotten pomegranates, cut them up, photographed them, took the seeds out, but Edisto was where I began drying them. And all of a sudden things began to come together, and I decided, okay, how many do I do? And I said, I'm going to do 8. Because to me that's a cycle. It's the beginning and it's a completion of 7, but a new beginning, starting with the 8th. And that's so much of what life is all about. And the pomegranate kind of figures in there if you look at the symbolism, because you take the seeds and you plant them and they grow. And again, that may have something to do with that digging, the reason that I had to dig this year. So I've done the 8 paintings, and what I would say, it was a real pleasure to do the series. It's always hard when you decide you're going to do a series. What size, how they integrate with each other, how they all have to come together but yet stand alone. And then they also, on top of that, have to figure into the overall thing, which is sweet. And that's how I came up with the pomegranate seals. Actually even made my own seal and used sealing wax, which is like a stamp. In some ways I think of it as a stamp of approval. It's a stamp that meant that each piece was completed, and actually it was the last thing I did on each piece. So this is how the pomegranate seals, Ancient Seeds of Wisdom, came into being.